The three key numbers are a person's destiny, what they're here for, big picture goal, their soul drive, which is their deepest motivation. The thing that if you don't know your soul drive, if you're not operating through your soul drive, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be fulfilled. When you're living in alignment with your soul drive, you'll get big results with little effort, short time. And then there is your natural talent. Your natural talent is something that you came here with. It's not something that you needed to learn. It's just something you have a natural ability to do.
Welcome to the Mindset Game podcast. It is such a delight to reintroduce you to David Shephard. He was with us in episode 58, and it's such an honor, David, to have you back. Thank you so much for agreeing to be back on the show.
It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. I want to take a moment to share a little bit about your background again for those people that don't already know you. David is truly a globally recognized expert in neuro-linguistic programming, commonly known as NLP, as well as timeline therapy, hypnosis, Hawaiian Huna, and numerology, which is our focus for today's conversation. With over 30 years of experience transforming the way leaders approach personal and professional growth. David left his corporate career in 1990 to pursue his passion for helping others unlock their full potential. And on a personal note, I'm one of those others in the sense that I have seen and watched you, David, over the years and learned from you. And really, you've shaped my path. And I'm so grateful for that.
Thank you.
As a master trainer of NLP and founder of the Performance Partnership, David has trained thousands of leaders, equipping them with powerful tools to shift mindsets, navigate change, and achieve extraordinary results, often very, very rapidly. Known for his innovative and integrative approach, David draws on diverse influences from psychodrama and Hawaiian Huna, firewalking, numerology, hypnosis, all to deliver transformational experiences that inspire lasting change. David, I see you truly as a game changer. You have such an expertise in how to, again, combine ancient wisdom, what some people may call magic, with really proven cutting edge techniques. And this is why I'm just so grateful to have you here today, because I think that our listeners can really benefit from learning more about their true kind of inner empowerment, what is possible for them when they tap into this magic and elevate their consciousness. So again, thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure, Vered. I love the word magic. When I'm running an event, quite often I'll say, how many people here when you were a kid did you live in a magical universe, in a magical world? And everybody puts their hand up. And I said, and how many people, when you went through this overrated process of growing up, did the magic decrease? And everybody puts their hand up. And I say, and how many people would like to recapture the magic? But as an engineer and a scientist by background, I love Arthur C. Clarke's definition of magic, which is any sufficiently advanced technology that most people don't understand. And I think that's what we do, right? We've got this advanced technology that most people don't understand, which can enable people to bring the magic back into their business, into their career, into their life. So,
wow.
Yeah, thank you.
That. Thank you. And we actually had a guest on the show. His name is Dr. Dean Radin. He's the chief scientist of IONS, Institute of Noetic Sciences, and he spoke essentially about real magic. That's one of his books.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and really a lot of these things, numerology and Hawaiian Huna, all of these things around like the research behind telepathy and psychokinesis and all of these, modalities that are just not yet well understood. Yes, there is evidence-based research proving that there is something there beyond statistical randomness, right? We know that there's something there. So my invitation for all of our listeners is really just to stay really curious in our conversation and to welcome, if happens to be the skepticism shows up, to welcome it with open arms. That's part of the learning, and just to stay curious and to practice what it is that you're going to be sharing with us today.
Great. No, absolutely. I mean, I did a lot of work with UK veterans who were experiencing anxiety, PTSD, depression, etc., as a result of what they experienced when they were serving. And I told them what was possible, and I said, "How many of you would go for it?" And everybody put their hands up. But there's an elephant in the room. I said, "And how many of you are skeptical?" And all the hands went up. And I said, "Okay. And how many of you are willing to suspend your skepticism long enough to find out if what I'm talking about is actually possible?" And all the hands went up. And when you've got that, it's like it's game on now. And we had absolutely, you might call magical results. I remember one was a guy that showed up on crutches, and we'd finished the 3-day program, and we were having the team wrap-up session, what we'd learned and feedback and all that kind of stuff. And this guy runs in to the room and said, "I'm sorry to disturb you, but I forgot my crutches." And he picked up his crutches, put them under his arm, ran out the room and said, "Bye." I just love that kind of stuff,
And it is possible. We know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So share with us a little bit, since the topic of the day is numerology. I know it's one of your
Yeah.
areas of expertise. What kind of, I should say, inspired you to get into numerology?
What inspired me was that in about 1990, 1991, I got into personal development and spiritual development. And shortly after that, I discovered astrology. And the newspapers sell astrology as being fortune telling and all that kind of stuff, but really astrology is about you being able to discover who you really are. I couldn't do astrology because to do astrology properly, you've got to have your accurate time of birth. And I'm adopted. I have never met or wanted to meet my biological mum and dad, as far as I'm concerned. My adopted mum and dad are my mum and dad. So I had no way of knowing what my time of birth was, even though, I did do a lot to find out my time of birth. But it just drew a blank. Every single way I went, drew a blank. So then from there, I discovered numerology. And numerology doesn't need your time of birth. It needs your date of birth and the first name you were given when you were born, which I believed I had. But through my endeavors to find out my date of birth, I actually found that my name that I have now is not the first name that I was given. I was given a completely different name. And from astrology, if you don't have the accurate time of your birth, you go, well, some of it's like me, some of it's not. The things that will be like you will be the slower moving planets, and the things that won't be like you is the faster moving planets. In numerology, it's important that you have your accurate date of birth, time of birth. Name at birth. And I thought I did. So even numerology didn't work for me. And then when the two kind of like worlds collided, I discovered that in actual fact, I had a completely different name that was given at my first breath. When I put that into numerology, then I went, okay, that's me. And when you do astrology, when you do numerology correctly, you go, yes, that's me, including some things that I wish wasn't. Um, some things that you go like, yeah, okay, that's me, but I've never told anybody that. I know that's me, but I haven't shared it with anybody. That's how precise it is. And so, I've been teaching numerology now probably for about 25 years. And when we've got somebody's accurate time, a date, name at birth, they literally go like, whoa, that's me. But that's how precise it is, which is why my scientific engineering brain loves it so much. Because and I've done thousands of numerological readings and taught thousands of people in numerology now. When people have that experience, you go, this can't be a coincidence. It can't be that consistent, that when you've got that information right. So it is, for me, it's a science, but not a regular kind of like science. That's what got me into it personally.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I'm actually like you in the sense that I don't have a date, excuse me, a time of birth either. It's not on my birth certificate. My mom was busy with two other little ones that she had. She doesn't
Right.
remember. My grandmother doesn't remember. Nobody knows. And I do know my name at birth. So, and I've had a numerology reading by one of your uh, trainees, one of your
Yeah.
students, and landed
Yep.
in an incredible way. That's why I'm just so excited for people to learn from you today. And so, what is numerology exactly?
So the basis of numerology, and the basis of it is, very esoteric, is that before we are conceived, we as a totally spiritual being um, decide what our life, physical life, is going to be about. And as a result of that decision, and this is, I mean, it sounds weird, but having done this for thousands of people now, as I say, it can't be coincidental that you decide from an astrological point of view the date and time of your birth, your location of your birth, your parents, and also your name, to express the energy, if you like, of what this lifetime is about for you. And there's a whole series of different numbers that people can work out from their name, their date of birth, a combination of the two. Um, which, if somebody has the accurate name of birth, um, people are flabbergasted. They go like, "Wow, that. How can you know all of that about me?" And all I've given you is my name and date of birth. Um, so that's what numerology is. It's and you know, there's a whole series of numbers. We won't be able to go through all of them today, but a number is a vibration. It's a frequency. And it's like when you've got your numerological reading, all the numbers that are involved, it really encapsulates the music, the chord of your life. You know, I play guitar, I play the saxophone as well, and saxophone you can only play one note at a time. But with the guitar you can play multiple notes. And so what you've got with numerology is you've literally got the harmony or the chord of your life in this lifetime, if we want to embrace the idea that we've been here before and we'll be here again.
So I imagine a lot of people listening are now like super curious, right? If they know their, name at birth and their date of birth, what can they do with that? Is there anything that you can guide us through today to maybe gain some self-awareness?
So there are a whole series of numbers, and this takes me, when I do our numerology online masterclass, it takes 3 days, 4 hours per day, and we haven't got that long. So the three key numbers are a person's destiny, what they're here for, big picture, big picture goal, their soul drive, which is their deepest motivation. The thing that, if you don't know your soul drive, if you're not operating through your soul drive, you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to be fulfilled. When you're living in alignment with your soul drive, you'll get big results in with little effort, short time. And then there is your natural talent. Your natural talent is something that you came here with. It's not something that you needed to learn. It's just something you have a natural ability to do. And I believe, there are naturals of everything. And then, this is why I love NLP so much, because NLP enables you to become natural at things that you're not a natural for, if that makes sense. So there's your natural talent is what you came in with. You don't need to learn it. You just need to. And the whole idea is that your soul drive produces the motivation. You use your natural talent to achieve your destiny. Now, natural talent is probably the easiest one for us to discuss this evening. Although it might not be evening when this goes out. It's evening now at the moment in the UK. Is the easiest to work out because you don't need your name. Because just like me, so many people think they know what their name is, and in actual fact, they work out that in actual fact they didn't at all. Your natural talent you can work out just from your date of birth. Yeah. So if people listening to this podcast can take out a piece of paper and a pen, we can do that right now. All right. So what you need to do is to write your date of birth out in its full form, 2 digits for date, 2 digits for month, and 4 digits for year. Now, I know you guys in the US do the month first and the date. We do it the other way around. We have the date first. So let me give you an example for me. So my birth date is the 6th of January, 1963. Yeah. I know I don't look like I'm nearly 62, but on Zoom, we have the benefit of having digital Botox. So obviously 0, 0. So I've got 6 plus 0 plus 1 which is 7, plus then I'd add the 1, the 9, the 6, and the 3 all together. So I've got 6 plus 1 plus 1 plus 9 plus 6 plus 3. Then the number that you'll get from that, like with my numbers, it gives you a double digit. I can't remember what it adds up to now. But what you do, if you'll get a double digit or maybe even a triple digit, you reduce it down to one number. So let's say you came up with it adding up to 17. You'd add the 1 plus the 7 and reduce it to an 8.
Okay. So in my case, it's 39 because I'm September 17th, 1975. So
Okay,
total
39.
39. So I do
Yeah,
3.
so you'd add the 3 to the 9,
Okay.
which
Oh,
would
wow.
give you 12. Then you go 1 plus 2 gives you 3.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So if people want to do that, then what I'll do, very big picture, is explain what each of the numbers represents, because the numbers are frequencies.
Yeah.
So from a numerological point of view, 0 is not a number. 0 is the source of all the other numbers. Everything comes out of 0. 0 is kind of like the source, the creator, the Keave in Huna, the Akasha in the Hindu, the Ein Sof Or in the Kabbalistic tree of life, the ether in the Western magical tradition, or the void, or the electromagnetic fluid. It's where everything comes from. So 0 is not a number. The numbers 1 to 9 have meaning. 0 doesn't. 1, if you look at it, the number 1 looks like a capital I. So 1 is the leader, here to stand on their own 2 feet, to lead other people. Yeah. 2 is duality. 2 is 2 ones side by side. So 2 is very much about cooperation. It's about the peacemaker, here to create balance. That's their natural talent. 3, which is what you had. Now, 3 is an interesting number because the most powerful number is 8, because 8 is an infinity symbol tipped on its end, right? But a 3 is an 8 with the side missing. So a 3 has all the energy of an 8, but the energy is coming out of the missing side. It's not contained. So 3 is the natural born entertainer, loves talking, loves to make people laugh. Look, I can see it now. Look, I can see it in your face. That's what the 3 is. So then we've got 4. 4. There are 4 sides to a square. So 4 is about stability, groundedness, being organized, being structured. Everything's contained within the 4 sides. Then we got 5. 5 is about freedom. The 5 is the natural promoter. They want to go out on the road. They're natural born salespeople, natural born entrepreneurs. They are naturally very, very flexible, very talented, multiple talents. And they can apply any of those talents. And though, because they want freedom, they have a bit of an away from of like, don't tie me down, don't tell me what to do. And, if they're in a situation where they're stuck in a particular situation, they'll want to move. 6 is home and family. So home is very important to them. Their home, they want a beautiful home. They want their family around them. Also, applying that natural talent, they're very good in the kind of hospitality business, which could be, restaurant, hotel, but equally, to a certain extent, what we do in the personal development business is we are in the hospitality business. We welcome people in and we take care of people and all those kind of things, even though it's hospitality with personal empowerment outcomes, if you like. 7 is the number of magic, because there are 7 bodies in the human body. The physical body, there's lower emotional, upper emotional, lower mental, upper mental, lower spiritual, upper spiritual. So this is why you see so many 7s, particularly in religious architecture. Like so for instance, the candelabra in synagogues and also in, Roman Catholic churches, Church of England churches, they always have 7 candles. There's 1 in the middle and 3 on either side. That's why. So 7 is the number of magic. It's the number of science, but equally, it's the I teach Huna. I mean, as you said, I'm very much into the study of magic, but not in the woo-woo kind of spiritual development kind of thing. Huna, for me, I'm attracted to it because it's a spiritual science. The occult is a spiritual science rather than a religion, which is what I kind of think about as being the politics of spirituality is really what that's become, and we can see that around the world. So 7 is very analytical, very scientific. 8 is big business, big money. And I quite often joke about the fact that the person who's got an 8 would tend to sit behind a very big desk, behind a very big bookcase of books where they've not actually read any of the books. I do have a natural talent of 8. I do have 3,000 books in my library, and I have read them all, which is the effect of certain of my other numbers that come in. And then, and also it's important here as far as like big business, because somebody with an 8 would never be satisfied in a job, in a career, working for somebody else, but also they would never be satisfied being self-employed. As in, they're not employed, they don't have a career, they don't have a boss, they're out on their own, but they're literally out on their own. So an 8 wants to build a business bigger than themselves. That's an important distinction there. 9 is the archetypal philanthropist. They want to heal the world, make it a better place for you, for me, and the entire human race. Actually, I could make a song out of that. So that's the 9. That's what they want to do. They want to heal humanity. They want to heal the planet. And obviously, what we've done is we've only worked out one number, which is natural talent, and there are probably about 20 numbers that you can extrapolate from your name and your date of birth.
Very cool. So just a quick follow-up to the 3 on a personal note. So when there is that, kind of, as you said, it's kind of like the 8 without the thing and we, radiate kind of out. What does that actually mean from a, natural talent perspective?
It would mean that you're a natural born communicator. You love to talk. You love to communicate with people. You love to make people happy. You love to make people laugh. Can be a bit of a party animal.
That one not sure about, but
okay. Well, those are the numbers to
yeah.
those are the numbers to modulate that.
Yeah, it's interesting though, David, because as a young kid, I was very much like that. And then there was a shift when I was about 10 or 11 when we moved. So that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the way you can use this is that, when you've got the accurate name of birth, when you've got the time of birth, which most people tend to know, is that then people go, okay, yes, that was me when I was a kid, and I'm not now, as a result of a particular maybe experience they had, where they had an experience where it wasn't okay to be the fun communicator. And then, if the person wants to return to that, well, actually to unlock again that natural talent would mean them doing something like NLP, timeline therapy, hypnosis, Huna, to remove the experience that they had in the past that when it's not okay to be the fun, happy communicator, etc.
Super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, so numerology really gives you a snapshot. And it's a case of then going, how do I use this? How do I make it work? So as an example, as a business owner, I realized from my numerology in my 40s, I can't remember exactly what the age was. I was moving into a phase in my life which was a 2. It was an 11-2. 11 is what's called a master number because you've got 2 1s, which means, you've been here before. You've learned all the lessons that there are to have of human life. You don't need to come back, but you either decided or were asked to come back to do something on a global scale. Now, 11 is limelight, being on the world stage. I was already kind of like doing that anyway by that point in time, but 11 reduces to a 2, which is cooperation, partnership, and potentially a negative aspect could be that the person would create a perception of being controlled by other people. My soul drive is a 1, which is leader, but equally the kind of like the each of these numbers have a pros and cons. One is, don't you tell me what to do. So I could see what was coming up was a conflict between this energy that was going to be pervading my life for the rest of my life till my end of days, of a two, which was potentially being controlled by others, which with a soul drive of one was not going to work. It was going to cause problems. And really, I'd been, it was me. I was standing on my own 2 feet. I was the one. And as a result of what came out of numerology, I went, okay, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to let that go. Which I did with NLP, tumbler therapy, hypnosis, and Huna. Very shortly after this, which would be in the early 2000s, one of my students who's on trainers training, his name's John Stockdale. He's actually half Greek, half Canadian. He was on my trainers training. He came to me and he said, would you be interested in having a performance partnership in Athens in Greece? And I said, yeah, I have no idea how it would work. And yes. And after that happened, I actually thought, if I hadn't have resolved my stuff about it having to be me, he either wouldn't have approached me, or if he did approach me, I'd have said no.
So David, tell us, how can numerology be helpful to people? Like, how can it make a difference in our life to be conscious of some of the meaning of these numbers in our life?
Yeah, I think what numerology really gives you is it enables you to discover who you really are. And, as a leader, as a business leader, as a thought leader, etc., you can't effectively lead other people until you know who you personally are. And then, when I was out in Tokyo a couple of weeks ago, we were doing a leadership program, and we got three facets to that. One was the inner game of leadership, the other was the outer game of leadership, and then the other was creating high performance teams. And I go, there's no point going on leadership skills training if you aren't sorted out yourself. You've got to know yourself, know your inner demons, if you like, and resolve your inner demons. Because as a leader, you don't get, for want of a better word, the pleasure of getting angry. You don't get the pleasure of being sad about things or being afraid or feeling guilty. You've got to sort all that out. You can't be a leader when you've got in your head, I'm not good enough, or what some people would call imposter syndrome. You've got to get that sorted out before you put other things on. And numerology accelerates that process, really. It enables you to discover who you are. And my experience was, I looked at it, I went like, yep, that's me. A lot of it I wished wasn't me. And it is. So it accelerates that process, and you realize what you need to do to work on yourself, to be able to create the things you want to create in your own life.
I very much appreciate that. And I do believe, and we know from research, that the sponsors of a change, let's say, make or break a change, right? When we're talking about a change initiative in an organization, and certainly the leader's energy ripples out to others. And so we do need to understand and accept ourselves and those quote unquote demons, which of course are just perplexed, confused little parts of us. Need our attention. They deserve to be seen and heard. And, as you said, to be resolved, to be reintegrated, to, release some of those extreme beliefs and other emotions and so
Yeah.
on just are not helping us, plus not good for our health. So I so appreciate that numerology is one way to gain awareness about what needs to be shifted, what needs to be resolved.
Yeah. And I think that's the key thing. It's about becoming self-aware and becoming conscious.
Exactly. Exactly.
And numerology enables you to do that
Yeah.
very, very quickly. If you just go with it. And, as I say, I've done so many numerological readings now. I've taught so many people numerology. And when you've got the date of birth and you've got their correct name at birth, it's just you can't walk away from it and go, oh no, I don't. That's nothing. You can't do that. It's just okay. There's something in this,
So share with us, how can we learn even more about numerology, about some of the amazing programs that you offer?
In 2025, I do a numerology masterclass, which is live, and it's online. So, people can do it from all around the world. There'll be information about that on our more esoteric, spiritual, magical website, which is called hunaandbeyond.com. And then, I've mentioned NLP, I've mentioned hypnosis, I've mentioned timeline therapy. You can find out more information about that on our website, performancepartnership.com. And then our online presence. Well, here's a couple of places to go immediately, which is my YouTube channel, David Shephard, real world NLP and Huna. There's literally hundreds of videos on there that you can start diving into to watch. I've got a new podcast that's called the Results Show, which is all about how do you go about creating tangible, real world results in areas of your life like your business, your career, your health and fitness, your relationship, your family, your money, all those kind of things. So those are places that you can go and find out more about what I'm up to around the world.
Well,
Causing
thank you.
trouble.
Well, I have to say again, you've had such an impact on my own path, with regards to, during the trainings in NLP and timeline therapy and other things where I would see and hear you and learned so much from the demos that you did and other things, and just really heartfelt.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And an invitation to those who are curious to learn more about these modalities, more about how to break through limitations, to check out these different websites and your YouTube channel, and of course the podcast, and learn how they can be even more empowered.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, David.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, game changers, it's Vered. I hope you loved this episode with David Shephard on numerology. I just find that there's so many things in the universe that we just don't quite know or understand. And numerology is one of them. It's one of those things that you just want to keep an open mind and play with. And who knows, maybe you'll get some nice, cool little nuggets of wisdom or guidance from numerology. So if you want to learn even more from David Shephard, because he is super highly skilled at NLP, timeline therapy, Huna, and so on, I invite you to check out episode 58 of the podcast. It's one of our earlier episodes, and you'll learn about the difference between your conscious and unconscious mind and how to work with your unconscious mind to get even better, easier, quicker results. So all my love. Mwah. Bye for now.